The night Jungkook returned, a story beyond the stage, the roar inside Tokyo Dome didn't fade when the lights went out. It lingered like a heartbeat echoing through empty seats, like a memory refusing to settle. Hours after the final note, after the last bow, after the screens went dark, it was still there. And so was he. Jungkook sat in the back seat of a black van, head slightly tilted against the window. His hoodie was pulled low, hiding most of his face, but not the quiet in his eyes. The city lights of Tokyo blurred past him in soft streaks, neon reflections dancing across the glass. For days he had lived inside noise, music, cheers, rehearsals, instructions, expectations. Now there was silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that comes after something overwhelming ends. Just hours earlier, he had stood at the center of Tokyo Dome, a stage so iconic that many artists spend their entire careers dreaming of it. Known as one of Japan's largest and most prestigious venues, it holds more than just people, it holds legacy. Curious fact, performing at Tokyo Dome is often considered a symbol of having made it in Japan's music industry. Even global artists treat it as a milestone. And tonight, Jungkook didn't just perform there, he owned it. Backstage after the concert had been filled with energy that refused to slow down. Staff moved quickly, voices overlapping, laughter mixing with disbelief. "That was insane. You really did it. We've never seen a crowd like that." Jungkook smiled at each of them, bowing his head slightly in gratitude. But behind that smile was something deeper, fatigue, yes, but also something heavier. The kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from the body alone, it comes from carrying expectations. From wanting every single person in that massive stadium to feel something real. And he had given everything. What no one noticed in the middle of all that excitement was the way he flexed his shoulders slightly when he thought no one was looking. During rehearsals, days before the concert, he had strained a muscle. It wasn't serious enough to stop the show, but enough to make every movement sharper, heavier. Every jump, every turn, every powerful note, it hurt. But he said nothing. Curious fact, many performers push through injuries during major shows, especially at career-defining venues, because postponing can affect thousands of fans and months of preparation. Jungkook chose the stage. Later that night, when everything should have been over, he made a decision that surprised even his team. "I want to go out," he said quietly, "not to a big place, not anywhere crowded, just somewhere normal." Dressed simply in a cap and mask, he slipped into the Tokyo night with a small group. The air was cooler now, carrying a calm that the stadium never could. They walked through narrow streets where the lights were softer, where people didn't look twice, where the world didn't revolve around him. And then they found it, a small ramen shop tucked into an alley. It wasn't famous. No long lines, no flashing signs, just warmth. Inside, the scent of broth and spices filled the air. The kind of place where conversations are quiet and time feels slower. Jungkook sat down, shoulders finally relaxing. When it was time to order, he tried speaking in Japanese. His words weren't perfect, his accent slightly off, but it was genuine. The chef smiled, nodding, understanding enough. And for a moment, Jungkook laughed, not the controlled laugh seen on stage. A real one, curious fact. Jungkook has a habit of picking up small phrases in different languages when he travels, often surprising locals with his effort to connect. They ate, talked, joked quietly. No cameras, no expectations. Just a young man enjoying a bowl of ramen after one of the biggest nights of his life. But even in that warmth, something lingered beneath the surface. Because moments like these don't last long. Back at the hotel, the silence returned, but this time it was heavier. The room was dimly lit. The city stretched endlessly outside the window, glowing but distant. Jungkook sat on the edge of the bed, an ice pack resting against his shoulder. The adrenaline was gone now, replaced by the dull ache he had ignored all night. He stared out at the skyline, not thinking about the performance, not replaying the cheers, just existing in the quiet. Curious fact. Many artists experience a post-performance drop, where the emotional high of performing suddenly fades, leaving behind a strange emptiness. Maybe that's what this was, or maybe it was something else. The next morning came too quickly. At the airport, fans had already gathered. They weren't loud. They didn't push. They simply waited. Phones held gently, eyes watching carefully. Even with a mask and casual clothes, they knew they always do. As Jungkook walked past, he gave a small bow. A simple gesture but filled with meaning. Thank you for coming, thank you for staying, thank you for seeing me. Inside the plane, he finally leaned back into his seat. His eyes closed slowly, not in sleep but in reflection. The stage, the lights, the pain, the laughter in that tiny ramen shop, all of it blending together into something that already felt like a distant memory. When the plane touched down in South Korea, reality returned instantly. Cameras waited. Reporters stood ready. Headlines were already written before he even stepped off the plane. Jungkook conquers Tokyo Dome. Historic night in Japan. Global star shines again. And yet none of those words captured the quiet breath he took as his feet touched the ground. Home. A familiar place but never a simple one. Because being home didn't mean rest. It meant the next step, the next expectation, the next stage. Later that night, without any announcement, Jungkook went live. No stage lights, no stylists, no script, just him. His hair slightly messy, his face bare, his expression calm in a way that felt different from before. I had fun in Japan, he said softly, a small smile forming. There was a pause, a real one, the kind that isn't planned. Thank you for waiting for me. Millions heard it, and millions felt it, because those words weren't part of a performance. They were real. Behind every perfect stage there are moments no one sees. The quiet pain hidden behind powerful choreography. The laughter shared in places no one would recognize. The silence that follows after everything fades. And the space between leaving one country and returning to another, where everything feels both full and empty at the same time. Jungkook lives in those spaces more than anyone realizes, not just as an artist standing under bright lights, but as someone moving through moments that are fleeting, fragile, and deeply human. The Tokyo Dome concert will be remembered. The headlines will stay. The performances will be replayed again and again. But somewhere in between all of that, there will always be the memory of a quiet night in Tokyo, a bowl of ramen, a hidden injury, and a silent flight home. And in that space, beyond the stage, beyond the fame, Jungkook continues forward, not just as a global star, but as someone still searching for the meaning behind every moment he lived.